All right, this is file 252117SD. People versus Logan J. Herrick. Mr. Herrick is from White Pigeon. He nearly killed himself on October 10th when he rolled his Mustang over and was arrested for operating while intoxicated. That matter was reduced to a charge of impaired driving, and the matter was set for sentencing this morning with Mr. Truckee. Matt Huff has prepared the screening report, which is very helpful. Also, Abigail Stoll from the prosecutor's office is present. Mr. Truckee, what would you like me to know in this case?
Thank you, Your Honor. You might want to check his ID, but he's 19. He looks a little older, but he's 19.
I never had that problem.
And this report reads like a 19-year-old who's making a mistake. He'd had some relationship issues. He was living with his sister. He goes over to his pal's house and they're splitting wood and drinking Busch Light.
That sounds like a country western song.
I was going to say it if you didn't. And on his way home, he's traveling through the thick deer country, makes a swerve to avoid a deer, ends up shiny side down on his car. He was almost killed. This could have been fatal. Convertible and a rollover accident is a frightening thing. And too often you see a 19-year-old who ceases to exist in this very situation. But Mr. Herrick has taken it seriously. He's not consumed alcohol since the offense date. He was fairly compliant with the officer. He denied an initial roadside, but he submitted to a blood draw. Been up front with me, recognizes that this was a mistake, shouldn't have happened. One nice thing that I'm impressed with Mr. Herrick about is he works full-time as a concrete finisher, which I'm Truckee, and that's deep in our blood here.
Yes, it is.
So I'm happy to see that he's employed full-time in a job that teaches you how to work for real. And he travels pretty extensively for work. It's down, I think the base is in mid-Indiana or Shipshewana, but there's a lot of jobs that are done farther south in Indiana. So even in the screening, he had trouble completing it because he was in the middle of a pour. But he's shown a good work ethic. You know, he gets out of high school and immediately gets going at it to make a life for himself. He's him and his sister are considering a move down to some town I've never heard of in Indiana. What is it, Logan?
Oh man, it's a weird name.
Kelmer or something?
Yeah. Weird name, yeah.
But he's considering a move out of state to be closer to his employment. I don't see any red flags. I didn't encourage him to go to treatment because I didn't see that this was anything more than a one-off. There's none of the red flags that you
There are some studies that show sending young people to treatment, if it is just a one-time mistake, may actually do more harm than good. But I'm not sure what we're dealing with, but he is very young.
Again, no criminal record. This was, I think, an eye-opener for him. And the reality is, even if you think you're fine to drive, sometimes things intervene, like deers or kids on tricycles or God knows what. So I think this has sent a very strong message to him. His sister's here in support. She's kind of playing a parental role in his young adulthood here. And I would ask that the court consider any time he spent in jail, as well as an appropriate fine. He is gainfully employed.
Are you doing concrete here in the middle of January?
Yes.
What are you working on?
And basements, porches, garages, driveways, chicken barns, whatever they can find for us.
Is this an Amish company?
Yes, yes, sir.
Do you come from an Amish family?
Yes, sir, kind of. I have the Chuck last name too. But
well, are you in Rumspringa, or you're just not in the church right now?
No. My grandpa left the Amish.
Okay.
The other thing I would like to note is Mr. Herrick, if the court wants to impose a jail sentence, would ask that it be scheduled so he can maintain employment.
All right, I read this last week, Matt, also again yesterday, and I'm on the fence. We'll hear from Ms. Stoll and then we'll hear from you. Abigail, you have any thoughts on this one?
I believe the sentencing recommendation is appropriate and I'm ask the court to follow that.
Thank you. People often have opinions about what sentences should be. The judge should throw the book at everybody, or they didn't give enough time, or he's too soft, or he lets people go. There's a statute that was implemented with the Criminal Justice Reform Act that says in non-serious misdemeanors, there's a presumption that the people won't go to jail or be placed on probation. And in somebody's wisdom, drunk driving cases are included in non-serious misdemeanors unless there's an accident or some other aggravating factors, at least as a first offense. In this case, there was an accident. His blood alcohol wasn't outrageous, although we tend to minimize. The last guy was punched his wife in the face. He's a 240 and he's driving around. Here a 132, which is quite drunk, especially for someone that's not old enough to drink. That's quite a few bush lights. You're a big guy, and that's probably 10 or 12 bush lights. And you almost took your life. What I'm vacillating on, Matt, is whether to just do a jail sentence scheduled. He could barely get here for the screening process. And I fear if I put him on probation, I'm just setting him up to fail. What's your thought regarding that?
Yeah, I mean, the report outlines that concern as well. That was my concern with Mr. Herrick, especially just given the nature of his job and how we weren't able to meet as efficiently as I typically do. You know, in regards to what the ultimate sentence should be, I have someone on my caseload now who's back for an OWI second. I'm not saying this is what Mr. Herrick's going to do, but you mentioned the statute and how it kind of cookie cutter molds a sentence for a slap on the wrist, so to speak, for some people. It's my opinion that young man is back because he got time served, fines and costs, and it didn't leave as much of a sting as it should. So regardless as to whether or not he participated in a probation, I don't think that he would be that successful, not of his own lack of desire to complete probation, but he seems to have something good going in his occupation. He wants to work with that company, and I don't know that he'd be able to make it back and forth from Indiana to
Well, particularly if he's gonna move down there.
Yes, so I mean, if that's the case, I think that perhaps scheduled jail would be more appropriate. That's where I would refer back to that reasoning as to, I think there has to be something to remind somebody, hey, you don't want to come back. And it's easy to forget when you're in the drunk tank for 6 hours before being released.
Well, Judge McManus, as I've discussed many times, had the theory that everybody ought to spend one day in jail drunk and one day sober. And that was the policy here for many, many years, even after I took over 23 years ago. But you can't have a one size does not fit all. And so you can't do that as a policy. Everybody gets one day. You have to view each case on its own merits. Also, that statute that I mentioned from the Criminal Justice Reform Act was placed in effect. And there's a case from the city of Auburn Hills that says we're supposed to do district court sentencing proportionally. One judge got reversed because they had a policy where they gave every driver in the particular case. In that case, I thought the judge was well justified in imposing the sentence that was justified based on the facts of that case. But they got every other case and looked at all the other cases and found that they always got jail for such an offense. Anyway, having said all that, I'm gonna order a $300 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee, $100 screening fee, $150 attorney fee. The sheriff's department did do a police reimbursement, good for them, $255. We're gonna do the victim impact panel, which is $32. Let's add that all up. Your brother-in-law or somebody was there to pick you up. Where did they come from? Your house on Harder Road?
Yes, on Beers Road.
Beers Road?
Yeah, it right down the road from right where I wrecked. It's a left-hand turn.
Okay. I think that's $962. Let's try it again. 300 fine, 125 in state mandatory costs, $100 screening fee, $150 that pays for part of your attorney fee, $255 police reimbursement, and a $32 cost for the victim impact panel. I screwed it up, 300.
I've got 962.
All right, 962. I'm gonna order 2 days jail, credit 1, leaving 1 day to serve, which is gonna be scheduled by the probation department under the 1 day sober, 1 day drunk. Make you not want to come back. I don't know what the right answer is. I mentioned a little earlier that putting young people into treatment, who really I don't have a terrible alcohol problem, can be counterproductive. And Mr. Huff mentioned some cases where there was not much of a consequence, and then the people got arrested again. And I don't know if that's because they have a predisposition to susceptibility to alcohol. When I used to talk to different groups, and what I would say at the victim impact panel, if you're gonna drink, don't drive a car. I'm not telling you that you can't, you're not on probation. I'm not ordering that you not drink. You're not old enough to drink or use marijuana, but I'm not gonna test it. I'm just gonna give you a day in jail and a $962 fine. That's due by March 1st of 26. And the probation department's gonna schedule the weekend and your victim impact panel. You're working, you've got no children, you should be able to pay that $962 by then. All right, you go with Mr. Huff and schedule that jail time
Thank you, Your Honor.
in the victim impact panel.
All right, here you go. Take care of yourself, all right?
Thank you. All right, I wish I don't see any more. Maybe if you move to Indiana, no judge will see you there either. All right, thank you, Ross. We were able to use your time today. Thank you, Abigail.
Thanks, Judge.
All right. Hi, what do you have?
I can grab the guys, put on probation.
All right.
You want me to bring both?
Yeah,
Thanks, Abby. I thought Angelique would be here for that senior sentencing.
Oh, she's busy, but.
I said, get ready. She's gonna ask for a year in jail. Thank you, Judge. Have a good
Thank you.
rest of your day.
All right, we got a rest of the day. All right, that stops our live feed. Thank you all for participating in this. 2 sentences without a clear, correct answer, which is often the case. We'll be doing sobriety court this afternoon. We'll be back with arraignments tomorrow, some other matters, and then some final pretrials in the afternoon for our Thursday. So I'll stop the live stream. And unless we have an emergency matter, I won't be back until tomorrow morning. Best of luck on your, good morning, Mr. Fox.
Morning, Your Honor.
When I came in this morning, I saw that you got arrested last night and you've got several things going on. You got a failure to appear in a circuit court case with Judge Stutzman, 1923117. So you're probably gonna have to see him. You have a failure to appear in 2478. And then what's this one?
Too many cases, I guess.
They gave me this case. Your lawyer is Luke Knopfsinger. It's 24787. That wasn't even on my radar. Now, the problem is to separate you from your dad.
Yeah, it seems to be a mistake sometimes.
Yeah. All right, the jail booked you in on 24787. I have that one. And 2543. Let's see what that one is. I don't even see that one in here. So we'll just deal with this one. Miss Jeanette Jackson is here with us from the Public Defender Office. I asked her to stick around when we finish arraignments to deal with this. Let me take a look at something. Checking to see whether Mr. Knopfsinger was set to be here for anything tomorrow. He's not. Well, let me look, check Judge Patterson's calendar. That would be too helpful if he was here tomorrow. That would be just perfect fit. All right, at any rate, you were charged with a larceny complaint and the allegedly occurred March 11th, 2024. The case got a lot of history in it. You pled guilty on October 24th. I gave you a notice and then you failed to appear for sentencing. Then we went with a bond forfeiture. I'm not sure what the status of that is. So let me find this. I don't know if it's in my queue. No, they didn't put it in my queue. Let me refresh it, see if it got put in there. No, they gave me the file, but didn't put it in the queue. So give me a minute and find it. The file is 24787 SM. It alleged that you stole a coat and wallet that belonged to Gerald Yoder. And you pled guilty to that. And then I set it for sentencing. You didn't show up. How'd you get arrested last night?
My bike was about 2 o'clock because someone stole my other bike. They woke me up in the middle of the night, stole my bike because I was riding around. The police seen me. And when they pulled me over, I told them, I said, you know,
What town were you in?
Sturgis.
All right, on a bicycle or?
Yes, they are.
All right.
In the process of trying to get the money, you know, when I told the officer, I was like, I'm trying to get the money up today till I can go turn myself in because I got this other warrant that I'm dealing with. And he's like, all right, well, we'll just deal with it now. I'm like, all right.
All right, well, I need to set this for sentence with Luke Knopfinger. Bond is canceled. I'm going on a trip for a few days, So I'm gonna be here today, tomorrow, and Friday. So let's see if we can get Mr. Knopfinger here. I was checking to see whether he was scheduled to be here tomorrow afternoon, and he isn't. But we'll check with Luke Knopfinger to do the sentence.
I know, we were supposed to do sentencing the day I skipped it.
Say that again?
I know I was supposed to be sentenced the day I didn't make it to court. And he said something about it was supposed to be, I was supposed to come to you with $200 for the case, and it was gonna be pretty much he was gonna try for time served on it. But I couldn't even make it to court that day.
All right, well, I didn't get most of that. Sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher, but I will deal with this. You pled guilty, stealing a guy's coat and his wallet. I set it out for sentencing. Then you blew me off and you've been under the radar for a while. Judge Stutzman's gonna see you also. Anyway, your bond's canceled until which time we can get Luke Knopfinger in to do the sentence. Hopefully it will be in the next 2 days. All right, Mr. Fox, you're good to go.
All right, thank you.